What is up, Bat Family? Welcome to a new The Batman update, because right now a bunch of people are filming and taking photos of a lot of stuff going down with the Batman production in Liverpool right now. So I don't know how long this video is going to be, because I want to get into a couple bits of speculation, examine some of the stuff that we've got to take a peek at, thanks to the many people who have been capturing this, literally standing there, but also that there's more stuff coming out as I'm saying this right now. You can see all of these images from like the Daily Mail. They've got like a bunch of high-res shots of Robert Pattinson, Selina Kyle with Carmine Falcone, but also we've got videos sent in from people as well who I will be crediting on screen. So very, very quickly, just going over this Daily Mail article, from the images that you are seeing in this article while it's on screen, you can very much so clearly tell that Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne attire here is indeed for that funeral scene where it looks like Gil Coulson comes out, he's strapped up with the bomb, he's holding a phone up, and I've gone over in my previous videos, most likely gonna be on the phone with Batman, because we know that Robert Pattinson's Bruce gets out of his funeral attire, gets dressed into the Batman suit, comes back, and that's where he tries to defuse the bomb, but it looks like it goes very, very wrong. Just so you're all up to speed, this is continuing on location filming for that very scene you saw in the trailer, which is very interesting, because I remember reading stuff that the Batman production is no longer doing on-set location shooting, but here we are. We literally have all the stars out to play. Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, John Turturro, you name it. Like, they're all here. Now, before we get into more of the spicy stuff that I really want to get into, it looks like that this is the beginning of the funeral. It doesn't look like a section of where a load of people would be running out after a car frickin' flies through with a load of question marks on it. You guys remember that part from the trailer. I'm probably showing it on screen right now. This is where they're probably all arriving, because in some of the videos that you're about to see, you have a bunch of press people saying, Mr. Wayne, Mr. Wayne. They're trying to obviously get a comment or something from the billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne himself. Very, very Gotham-y. It's really cool to look at in the videos. Just seeing a load of paparazzi trying to get a comment from Bruce, and it just reminds me of that scene in the trailer where we don't get to see Andy Serkis's Alfred, but we hear him say, you know, you're becoming quite a celebrity. I think he was getting at the fact that the Batman is getting more noticed in the trailer, but hey, this is probably the days of, well, it is Batman Year 2, where Bruce Wayne is going round and the press, you name it, in Gotham would love anything, like would love anything to get to do with Bruce Wayne to put on their paper and to see what he's up to. I have to say, I absolutely adore Bruce's car. I believe it's like a Corvette. I'm not a massive car guy, but if I ever were to be a car guy, it would be this old-fashioned type. I love it. It's definitely reminiscent of early Batmobiles as well. Just want to chuck that in there. Actually, even the one on Titans, for any eager Titans fans out there, that one actually resembles more of a Corvette actual Batmobile, whereas obviously in this, we know Bruce's Batmobile is a proper muscle car, like, you know, pimped out yourself Batmobile. But I still love the car that he chooses to ride in is very old-fashioned Corvette-y. And obviously he arrives there. That follows into the videos you're probably seeing where the Gotham press are just like, Bruce Wayne, Mr. Wayne, Mr. Wayne, as he's going in. This is where we're getting to the interesting stuff now. The very, very, very interesting stuff that I would love to know your theories and speculation on down in the comments below. In the videos that I'm showing on screen of Selina Kyle and Carmine Falcone and the Penguin, I'll get onto that in a second, walking down the steps, I love how much of a good look we actually get at John Turturro's Carmine Falcone, but also Selina Kyle. I mean, obviously on the Daily Mail, if you scroll down quite a bit, you'll get these much higher res photos, especially if you go there yourself. You can see him in very, very high res. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up very specifically is because, as this user points out here on Twitter, if you look at Carmine Falcone's face very close up, you can see the scratches on his face given to him by none other than, well, I'm sure you can guess it. Come on. Catwoman. And it is very, very insanely comic book accurate. I mean, well, yeah, there's a little comic book still here from Super Spider 2001 on Twitter. I love it. Lots of people are doing loads of comparisons side by side with the comic book panels of what we're seeing. But also, I do wonder if they're doing the whole Dark Victory or just, you know, the whole, you know, linking Selina Kyle. And this has been a theory for quite a while, to be honest. I believe I heard this months and months and months ago, that they may very well be making Selina Kyle the kind of illegitimate child of Carmine Falcone, or Falcone, Falcone, however you want to pronounce it. But then again, if she is walking down the steps with him in this cathedral scene, then maybe it isn't so illegitimate, if you know what I mean. Maybe they've got to a point where Falcone does recognize that she's his daughter, and that's what makes a very, very interesting subplot anyway in this movie within itself. We know that Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne, or should I say Batman's relationship, especially at the beginning, is rocky to say the least, but they definitely have this alluring attraction to one another. But the thing that makes this very interesting as well is that there's always been a moral dilemma between Selina Kyle and her feelings for Bruce, but her feelings for like kind of the underworld, the anti-hero route that she has. Well, it makes it a lot more interesting when she is the daughter of Carmine Falcone. She would have literal ties to the mob in Gotham, so you can understand how much more complex that makes things, how many obligations she might have to her father when she feels conflicted in the story to maybe help the Batman out, because obviously these crime families in Gotham aren't going to be liking the Batman, and we're 1 year 6 months in roughly in this Batman year 2, I believe Matt Reeves said. So one thing that has been established is that he's already gone after the crime families. People like Penguin, I believe, people even like Falcone know about the Batman, and that's what I love. I know I've been going on about this for a minute or two now, but the fact that we see these two walking down the steps together is just very, very interesting, and I bet Falcone doesn't even realize that those scratches were given to him by his very own daughter, if that's the case, if she is actually his daughter within this movie. But also just look at Colin Farrell's Penguin walking down the stairs. I love his kind of walk, the way he carries himself already. I know we're kind of looking into a video of him far away just walking, but it's just cool to see the Penguin, Colin Farrell, under such heavy makeup with an umbrella. You love to see it. And I'm literally just looking at it again right now. You can kind of see how he almost waddles left to right. But interestingly, you can see that Selina Kyle and Carmine Falcone are directly behind the Penguin when they're leaving here. But another thing, going directly off of this scene, now I believe this is when they're going in to the funeral. A little bit of an interesting, Gotham families drama thing happens here. But here we see Bruce actually walking up to the funeral. But you can see how Bruce is immediately stopped by the Penguin. Like, literally puts his arm out. And then in this other video here, you can see that Bruce Wayne is talking to Falcone. You can see Penguin is there. You can see the henchman in the background. So, obviously, they don't know who this guy is. They don't know that this is the Batman. But maybe it's just going to be... I would love to be a fly on the wall and hear what those lines are. Because this is obviously a scene being filmed. Especially when Penguin put his arm out to literally touch Bruce Wayne and be like, just stop right there. I think there's going to be some snidey remarks given by Oz Cobblepot here. Maybe Falcone, maybe they're going to be like, oh, look, Carmine, and then like Carmine looks over and then sees, the younger Bruce Wayne that everybody knows and hears about, but maybe hasn't seen for some time. I can imagine a dynamic like that, and they're just sniggering. So one of the best till last, honestly, just because it's really picking my brain as to what this really is. And I believe that is the main gist of things so far, just with a lot of the outdoor scenes. It's very much so the same stuff you're seeing. But this one here that has been captured is very, very interesting, just because it does look to be maybe Riddler type thugs or henchmen. I'm not saying they are. It just seems as though they could be because of this logo on the back here. Now, there are other photos out there of these guys holding up these signs of like no more lies, very similar to what we actually saw in the trailer, or like lies, lies, lies. The exact same theme as what we saw in the teaser trailer, where it said no more lies on the face of the mayor, little clippings of the newspapers, exact same stuff there. I'll see if I can attach a photo in this video of that. But now we actually have these thugs here, similarly dressed to the people holding up the signs, but also with a logo on their back, with a question mark in the middle, and almost like a crosshair going around it. Now, if there's one thing that you've probably heard for the longest time now, is that the Riddler, the inspiration for the Riddler character, this take in this movie that Matt Reeves has gone for, is that it is blatantly inspired by the real life Zodiac killer. He was a serial killer. I don't need to explain who the Zodiac killer is, but a lot of comparisons have been made. I've done it myself, of how not only does he visually kind of mimic him with the glasses coming out of the mask and stuff like that, but here on this coat, I'm not saying this is Paul Dano's Riddler, but it could be like maybe the logo that he kind of goes around with. I don't know. We have seen the question mark on top of the car that breaks into the funeral, but here you can see a question mark with almost like a crosshair. Now, the Zodiac Killers was just like a circle, like with the you're seeing on screen right now, but it just reminds me of that. I have to think that's a deliberate connection there. It could be something else, but obviously this has got something to do with the Riddler himself, Edward Nashton, in this movie. And yeah, question mark in the middle, little lines outside with little gashes in it. Just reminds me of like his, you know, further take on the Zodiac Riddler killer, or whatever you want to call it. And I love that. I have to think that these are something to do with his crew, and maybe that is his logo. Very, very Zodiac Killer-esque. But I believe that is everything, guys. I hope I didn't miss anything out. If I have missed something out, I will try and do a follow-up video. If there is anything tangible enough to speak about, I often just want to wait for things to come out, not just people just walking down the steps, but I felt like I had a few things to say here. And if I have missed anything out again, it's because it's happening right now. But as of when I'm making this video, that is the main gist of what you want to know. Would love to know your thoughts. Do you think Selina Kyle is indeed Carmine Falcone's daughter in this, and she was indeed responsible for those scratches? What altercation do you think was happening with Penguin stopping Bruce Wayne as he was getting into the entrance of the funeral there? And also Carmine Falcone was there, and I bet Selina and Bruce in that scene were probably giving each other the eyes. I mean, who knows if that scene in the trailer of where they were fighting was set before or after this moment. There's so many things, guys, but I'm so glad to be talking about this again. But yeah, like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe for more updates. Never miss an update like this on the Batman. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you, Bat family, in the next video. Goodbye.